Hi, and welcome to the Texas Emergency Mortgage Assistance Program Implementation Workshop. Today we have Erica Garza, who's a CDBG Cares Manager, Katie Wilkinson, who's a CDBG Cares Program Coordinator, and myself, Lauren Robbie. I'm also a CDBG Cares Program Coordinator. Before we start, here are a few housekeeping rules for the live webinar. First, the webinar slides and recording from today will be posted on our webpage. Also, we ask that you please use the questions field, not chat, in the right-hand section of your screen to ask questions to the presenters throughout the webinar. And lastly, we will have a questions and answer sessions to provide the answers to all the questions that were asked during the webinar. Today's webinar agenda consists of the following topics: TEMAP overview, project timeline and benchmarks, program guidelines, monthly reporting and draws requirements, TEMAP forms and resources, next steps, and our Q&A session. The TEMAP program's goal is to help stabilize the state's low to moderate income homeowners that have been impacted by COVID-19 with mortgage assistance. This assistance also includes mortgage arrears, with at least one of those months covering a future monthly mortgage payment. This is also the second round of funding that we are issuing to assist homeowners through the state of Texas. And we are happy to say that with your organization's participation in this program, we are able to provide TEMAP in all the counties throughout the state of Texas. The second round of funding includes 8 organizations with a total allocated funding of $3 million. The TEMAP process is as follows. Each organization will need to conduct appropriate outreach in their specified service area. All homeowners must apply through your organization. Then, you must ensure all eligibility requirements are met before you can provide mortgage assistance to them. If the homeowner is eligible, then they are able to receive mortgage assistance. This slide shows the different mortgage payment statuses that your organization may come across as you start to receive applications. For homeowners that are past due on their mortgage payments, they are able to receive up to 6 months of arrears. The arrears payment will count as the first month of mortgage assistance. With that, they still have an additional 5 months of mortgage assistance available that must include at least one future mortgage payment. For homeowners that are current and need assistance towards future payments, then they are eligible to receive up to 6 months of mortgage assistance. This slide goes over the timeline and benchmarks for TEMAP. By the 4th month of reporting, 20% of the contract should be expended. By the 6th month, 40%. By the 9th month, 70%. And by the end of the contract, 100% must be expended. Contract funds should be 100% obligated by March 31st, 2022. So what that means is that applications must be received and clients approved for payment. The reason we are implementing this obligation deadline is to avoid duplication of benefits. This section will provide an overview of the TEMAP program guidelines. The following topics will be reviewed in this section: program documents, eligibility requirements, duplication of benefits, income determination, mortgage limits, payments, and eligible versus ineligible expenses, lead-based paint requirements, subawards and subcontracts, administration draw limit, and monthly reporting requirements. The program documents for the homeowner and mortgage service provider must be received by the subrecipient to determine eligibility and included in the applicant's file. If there is an asterisk at the end of the form name on this slide, then those forms will be provided by TDHCA for organizational use only. The required documents for the homeowner include homeowner application, and this will only include the borrowers that are currently living in the household, homeowner certification, homeowner assistance letter, household income certification, evidence of income eligibility, mortgage statements, lead-based paint visual assessment form, and the applicant release of information form. This form is optional. In addition, The mortgage servicer must submit the following program documents: mortgage certification form, IRS W-9, and a direct deposit or other method of payment. And now I will show you the program documents that will be provided to each subrecipient. Here are the forms that TDHCA will be providing to the subrecipients to help administer the program within their service area. First, we have the homeowner application. As you can see, it's the basic information for the applicant, the mortgage service provider, their needs assessment, have they received other types of mortgage assistance, and what is their total unmet need, the household composition information for each person residing in that household, categorical eligibility, do they receive SSI, LIHEAP, or SNAP, current employment information for the applicant or applicants, and then also current employment information for others that reside in that household. Section I is demographic information. And then here we have the release and signatures. The next form we have is a homeowner certification form. This form allows a homeowner to certify that they are behind in payments and that they were impacted by COVID. And they provide a brief statement here. And that will be their documentation that they were impacted by COVID-19. And here's where they sign and date, as well as a TEMAP program administrator, staff person who is assisting them at the time. Here's a notification of approval for assistance. This is actually a letter that can be utilized by the subrecipients to be given to the eligible homeowners that received assistance. The areas highlighted in yellow are what need to be changed by the subrecipient for each applicant. And here you can list the months and years of assistance. Here we have the household income certification form. Again, this is another form that requires household member information and their gross annual income. Do they receive benefits as well, child support, just a list of all the income types that come into that household. This form is a mortgage servicer form and certification. This is to be completed by the mortgage service provider, and it allows for them to certify that that applicant is actually a homeowner and has a mortgage with that particular provider. Here we have the authorization to release the mortgage information. Sometimes homeowners have difficulties relaying the correct message to the mortgage service providers. So this form was developed so that the subrecipients can ask questions on behalf of the applicants and get more information that is needed for them to be eligible for the TEMAP Mortgage Assistance Program. And here is the lead-based paint visual assessment form. This can be used, this was developed by us as well, but if you already have one developed by your organization, you can use that as well. And that is it for the forms. This slide provides information on the homeowner eligibility requirements to receive mortgage assistance. The household must have been economically impacted by COVID-19 through a loss or reduction of income or increase in expenses due to the pandemic. The household will be asked to describe the impact, but they do not need to submit documentation with their application. Next is income eligibility. The household must have gross annual income at or below 80% of the area median income, and the program administrator will need to follow the income verification guidelines to determine eligibility. Next, mortgage eligibility. The applicant must provide a copy of a recent mortgage statement showing missed payment. They must also provide proof of primary residency, and this can be done through a combination of various documents, such as a copy of the current mortgage statement, utility statement showing homeowner's name, and documents from the county appraisal district. All borrowers on the mortgage statement should be included in the application. The property must be the primary residence of the applicant. Secondary properties are not eligible for this type of assistance. And lastly, no duplication of benefits. The homeowner will have to certify that they have not received assistance for the same period of time for the same home and household. In addition, the mortgage servicer must meet the following eligibility requirements. They must be an eligible lender. This means the lender must be a bank, trust company, savings bank, mortgage company, credit union, National Banking Association, Savings and Loan Association, life insurance company, or any other financial corporation regulated by a federal banking agency and registered with the National Multi-State Financial Licensing System. There is an exception, such as Habitat for Humanity and other such lenders that serve very low income through self-help methods. These type of entities are also eligible lenders. Furthermore, an entity must be authorized to do business in Texas. If they are suspended or disbarred by the Texas Department of Agriculture, TDHCA, and the Texas Department of Banking, then they will be ineligible. Also, if they appear on the System for Award Management, SAMS, as suspended or debarred, they are not considered eligible lenders. It must also be an eligible loan type. We will discuss eligible mortgage loans in the next slide. And lastly, there should be no duplication of benefits. The mortgage provider cannot have already received payment from another source providing mortgage assistance covering the same time period for the same household. This slide discusses the type of mortgages that are allowed for this program. TEMAP will only pay for either first and second lien mortgage contracts. If it is a first lien mortgage, it must not have been made with federal, state, or local government funds. If it is a first and second lien mortgage, the loans must be part of the same months. And FHA, VA, or USDA-backed mortgages, where no federal, state, or local funds were involved to pay the first lien mortgage, are considered eligible for assistance. Here's a simple decision tree showing you what is eligible and required of the program. It has to be a primary residence. Income has to be at or below 80% of AMI. It must be an eligible loan with an eligible lender. Keep in mind mortgage amounts must be reasonable. We are using fair market rent and small area fair market rent values to determine the amount of mortgage assistance that will be provided to each homeowner that's eligible. And this will be discussed in an upcoming slide. And it also must be a first or second lien mortgage. If the answer is yes to all these questions, then the homeowner may be eligible for TEMAP mortgage assistance. This slide provides information on duplication of benefits. As previously stated, a geographic area cannot be served by more than one subrecipient. This will prevent overlap and ensure that we reach the most people that need this type of assistance. Subrecipients must do their due diligence and check with other local providers for duplication of benefits for each application received. In addition, if a homeowner has received CDBG funds, they are still eligible to receive CDBG-CV funds. The homeowners could have received up to 3 months of assistance with regular CDBG funds and still remain eligible to receive TEMAP assistance. An example of this would be that one of your applicants has accessed CDBG funds to pay their mortgage for July, August, and September. They have run out of assistance and are now applying for CDBG-CV funds for the months of October, November, December, January, February, and March. This would not be considered a duplication of benefits because it is under the threshold for months of assistance under both programs, and the funds are being used for different months of mortgage payments. To ensure that there is no duplication of benefits, the subrecipient must verify by following these 4 steps. Step 1, assess the homeowner's need. Step 2, determine amount of assistance that has or will be provided from all sources to pay for their mortgage. Step 3, calculate unmet need by subtracting the amount of assistance already provided by the maximum CDBG CV award. And step 4, document DOB analysis by keeping record of the calculation and through maintenance of adequate documentation, justifying determination of maximum award. This slide provides an example of how to properly conduct a DOB analysis. In this scenario, a homeowner has lost their job due to COVID and they are seeking mortgage assistance through TEMAP for 3 months of arrears payments and 2 months of current and future mortgage payments. First, the subrecipient must assess the need. In this example, the monthly mortgage equals $1,000 and is within the 150% SAMFR and FMR limits. Therefore, the potential need is $5,000 because the applicant needs assistance for 5 months. Step 2 requires the subrecipient to determine if other assistance has been received by the homeowner for mortgage assistance. In this example, the homeowner received $250 per month for the past 3 months from a local faith-based organization to go towards their mortgage assistance. This assistance total was $750. After that, step 3 requires the subrecipient to calculate the unmet need. For this example, the potential need is $5,000 and other assistance that was received was $750. So you subtract the 2 and the maximum award can be $4,250 for that particular homeowner. The last step requires the subrecipient to maintain all documentation of calculation and justification to confirm the amount of unmet need and maximum award amount for all of the applicants. To ensure that mortgage amounts are reasonable, TDHCA developed a mortgage limits calculator to help subrecipients in determining the 2021 small area fair market rent value for their service area. TEMAP will only pay up to 150% of the small area fair market rent value. Therefore, the monthly mortgage must be at or below 150%. But if a mortgage payment is over 150%, then the homeowner must be able to pay the difference of the mortgage payment to be eligible for TEMAP assistance. Here is just me showing you the mortgage limit calculator that we developed. This will be available on the TEMAP webpage and of course on this PowerPoint slide. Just simply click on the calculator icon and it'll open up into this Excel spreadsheet. So once you have access to the calculator, you will simply enter the zip code of the service area in the first yellow box. If the zip code is not listed in the first box, make sure that you clear it and choose a county from the second drop-down box. Once a location has been selected, the information will auto-populate in this table below. As you can see for this example, I entered zip code 78572, which is for the City of Mission, and it provided me with that service area's allowable TEMAP payment in this table. This slide provides information on the documentation that is needed to determine income and household size. If the applicant falls in the 0 income to 60% of the area median income, then the documentation that is required is a self-certification form. If the applicant is in between the 61 to 80% of AMI, then the applicant must submit an income verification form. To verify the household size is 6 or less, and the head or co-head of household is receiving SNAP, LIHEAP, or SSI, then enrollment documentation or email from source agency will be required. And if the household has 7 or more members, the applicant must submit income verification. This slide reviews the eligible and ineligible mortgage costs. The eligible costs include up to 6 consecutive months with at least 1 future mortgage payment, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, late fees, mortgage arrears, which includes up to 6 months of arrears. This arrears payment will count as a first month of mortgage assistance, and at least 1 month must still cover a future mortgage payment. All escrowed first mortgage expenses, including principal, interest, property taxes, and insurance, and FHA, VA, or USDA-backed mortgages where no federal, state, or local funds were involved. Furthermore, these eligible costs must be paid directly to the mortgage service provider. The ineligible costs include the following: contract for deed, we're referring these type of contracts to be handled by the upcoming program, which is Homeowner Assistance Fund, also known as HAF. Rent to own or lease to own. For these type of contracts, we are currently referring them to the Texas Rent Relief Program, TRR. Homeowner association fees, special assessments, mortgages funded by federal, state, or local government funds, and secondary homes like vacation homes are not eligible to receive this type of assistance from TEMAP. This slide shows a decision tree that the subrecipient can use to fulfill the lead-based paint requirements to determine if the homeowner can receive mortgage assistance through TEMAP. Due to COVID, visual inspections are acceptable. The questions include, was a unit built before 1978? If no, no action is required. But if yes, we move on to the next question. Is current or future mortgage assistance for more than 100 days? If no, again, no action is required. But if yes, a visual inspection must be done. Again, due to COVID, TDHCA is allowing virtual visual inspections. More information on the visual inspections can be found online on the HUD webpage link. And we also do have a form that we are going to be providing for each subrecipient. This form can be used or modified by the subrecipient. And lastly, if the visual inspection discovers lead-based paint, then no assistance can be provided until this matter has been remediated. If no lead paint is found, then no further action is required, and the subrecipient can continue with the application process. This slide provides information for subrecipients that will use subawards and subcontracts for program administration. For subawards, organizations are able to provide direct funds to units of local governments, council of governments, public housing authorities, and nonprofit organizations. Subawardees are prohibited to further subaward funds, and subrecipients must ensure subawardee complies with all contract terms and that they follow subaward process outlined in Section 17F of this contract. We ask that the organizations that plan to subaward grant funds please fill the Smart Sheet subawardee form by October 15th. Moving on to subcontracts. Subcontracts are only for goods and services and are paid out of administrative funds. Furthermore, goods and services must be procured in accordance with 2 CFR Part 200, UGMS, and Chapter 10 of the Texas Administrative Code, Section 1.404. Subrecipient must ensure subcontractor complies with all contract terms, and TDHCA maintains the right to monitor all subcontractors. TDHCA requires subrecipients to conduct outreach through affirmative marketing efforts in their designated service area to ensure that we reach individuals who are least likely to apply for this type of program, such as people with disabilities, persons with limited English proficiency, minorities, and extremely low and very low income persons. This slide will briefly go over the TEMAP monthly reporting and draws requirements. These monthly reports and draws must be submitted on the 15th of each month to cover the preceding month's activities. These reports include monthly report by household, which will be a Smart Sheet form and will provide us with household level data, a monthly performance report, which will be completed through the housing contract system and will provide us with aggregate level data, and the monthly expenditure draws, which will also be done through the housing contract system, and this will provide us with the amount of admin and project expenditures that have been done by your organization. The HCS link is provided here, and all contract administrators and signature authorities will receive their HCS usernames and passwords by this month. Also, just to let you know, if any subrecipients would like to include additional staff members to have HCS access, just email one of us and we will make sure that that person does have the appropriate HCS access. And lastly, we will be providing a training to go over HCS and the TEMAP reporting requirements on October 13th. So please save the date and mark your calendars. This slide provides subrecipients with an administration draw limit calculator. This is a very good tool to use once your organization has drawn up to 40% of their admin funds. Because after 40% of admin funds are drawn, TDHCA will not reimburse admin costs at a rate that is 20% higher than the expended project funds. As you can see here on the slide, we have XYZ County and City of ABC. Both of these subrecipients receive the same grant funding amount and have already drawn 40% of their admin costs. But only City of ABC is able to draw an additional $12,000 because they have used more of their project funding amount when compared to XYZ County. Again, we highly encourage that every subrecipient use this calculator, and you can access it right here. Just click on the calculator and it will take you directly to the Excel spreadsheet. Here's the next steps checklist of what is coming up for TEMAP. To make sure that we have the appropriate contact information for each organization, we will be sending you a contact information form. We ask that this form be submitted back to us by September 30th, which is next Thursday. Next, an upcoming training for the housing contract system and TEMAP monthly reporting requirements will be done on October 13th. We will send out a calendar invite so you can save the date appropriately. Also, we highly stress that you include any staff members that will be involved in the monthly reporting process to attend this training. The contract must be signed by the 15th of October. If you cannot meet this deadline, please reach out to CDBG Cares Manager Erica Garza via email. Also, if your organization plans to use subawards and subcontracts, please complete the subawardee form by October 15th. Lastly, the first monthly report and draws will be due on October 15th. An organization does not have to submit a monthly report if they have no activity. Here is our team's contact information with the list of organizations that will be overseen by each one of us. Any member from our team can be reached, but the TEMAP team member who is overseeing your contract will be the most knowledgeable of your organization and contract and will be your primary contact also. Erica will be overseeing Heart of Texas Council of Governments and Lazarus House Initiative. Katie will oversee the Tracy Andrus Foundation, Travis County, and Tri-County Community Corporation. And I, Lauren Robbie, will oversee Adults Youth United Development Association, Alliance of Border Collaboratives, and Economic Opportunities Advancement Corporation. Before we go into the Q&A session, I just wanted to provide you with the link to an evaluation form. This evaluation form will help us in determining the best way to present to this group of subrecipients for the NOFA 2 round of mortgage assistance through TEMAP. So if you could just take the time and just fill this out whenever you have a chance today, hopefully right after we get off this webinar, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Now moving on to the Q&A session.